podcast.
This is The Buzzard.
From the Claiborne Ford Lincoln Studios, serving Northeast Ohio since 1973.
Now it's time to give stuff away. Time to give stuff away.
All right, I got passes for you if you want to check out Scream 6. That is in theaters everywhere today. It's courtesy of Paramount Pictures and Spyglass Media Group. The whole gang moves to New York City. That's the long and the short of it. Scream 6. Go see it wherever it's showing. A couple of passes for you. Caller 10, good luck. 216-578-1007 or 800-348-1007.
To all our men and women in uniform,
I've been a lifelong fan, 20 years in the military, come back, and to find your afternoon show is f***ing horrible.
thanks from the Alan Cox Show
Horrible, horrible.
on 100.7 WMMS.
Were you ever in one of those Scream movies? You've been in everything.
I wasn't in a Scream movie.
Not one Scream movie
Not
could
one
squeeze
Scream
you in.
movie. I know.
Michael Rapaport is here. He's in Cleveland. He's an actor. He's a comedian. He's a philosopher. He's a provocateur. And he's probably a hell of a dancer. Are you a good dancer at all? You're a married guy, right? You got to learn.
I'm more of a philosopher than a dancer, and saying I'm a philosopher is a stretch. So,
Well, listen, you are everywhere, though.
yes.
I hear you on Stern during football season
Yes.
saying awful, awful things to Gary.
Well, you call him Gary. I call him Gorilla
I
Tooth.
know. You call him awful things. It's hilarious.
It's interesting that you call him Gary. Not
Professional
knowing-
courtesy.
Well, that is not. You're not really understanding that it's actually a monkey that they
I
brought
know.
in from the wilderness and shaved down and trained all these years. So
I know.
that is a professional courtesy and somewhat of a stretch. But
That's
anyway,
right. That's right. But you have been in some of our favorite films, some of our favorite television shows. I love the show Justified.
Yep.
You were on that. Love Justified. That's coming back. I don't know if you have any
Yeah.
part of that, but
You're in an all-time like Chappelle show sketch. I mean, you got a million things you've done.
Thank you very much.
is it safe to say that you're getting back to roots by doing stand-up? You moved out west as a young man to do
Yeah.
stand-up.
No, I don't look at it like that. I mean, I started out as a stand-up when I was 19. I didn't really know exactly what I wanted to be. I thought I was going to be like a comedian. I wanted to be the next Eddie Murphy. That was my goal.
Yep.
And I thought
Everybody did, right?
Everybody did.
Yeah.
I thought I'd be a comedian, a stand-up comedian that went into acting, but I didn't know that I would fall in love with, just dramatic acting and sort of just straight acting.
Were you at all professionally trained? Did
No.
you go through that? Some people are like, it just comes out of me. I have an acumen for it. You didn't you weren't taking Stella Adler class or anything
No,
like that.
I would get called in for auditions when I would be on stage being a young, very, very, very raw comedian. And the first time I read scenes to audition, it made more sense than any sport that I had dreamt of playing.
Okay.
And it just was like, I could do this. And I was like, not only could I'm going to do this. I got this. I'm going to do this. And, and then I started getting cast in films and eventually stopped doing stand-up and, fell deeply in love with acting. And then about 3 or 4 years ago, probably about a year before the pandemic, I started doing stand-up. And then the pandemic, slowed
Perfect
things
timing.
down. Yeah. And then I've been, back doing stand-up and, I really love it. It's fun. It's unpredictable. It's, you're in charge of everything, which is unlike, being an actor, because as an actor, you have to defer to an editor, you have to defer to directors and sometimes, executives.
You might not even make it into the thing.
You might not make it into the thing, or the thing that you wanted to make into the thing doesn't make it into the thing.
Right.
But I still love it. But I love just the sort of the unpredictability of stand-up and the predictability of it, and I also love the fact that it's you're in control. So I really enjoy that, and I love the immediacy of being in front of a crowd is
the
nothing
instant
like
gratification is the best.
Yeah,
and especially with a guy like you who has such a big personality and has you're somewhat opinionated, I would say.
Yes.
You've made one or two calls on some things.
You can go up on stage and you can you're gonna get a reaction out of the crowd one way or the other. And it's very fun to watch. And I mean, just you're an actor that has made a name for himself just being a personality.
Yeah.
Which I think is pretty rare because a lot of times, it's everybody thinks the person on the screen is who they are.
Yeah.
You have your own personality that people they hear Michael Rapaport, they hear your voice on the radio right now. They know who that is.
Yeah. That part of my career, that part of my arsenal, that part of my persona was really uncalculated. The social media and the last 5 or 6 years of everything that's been going on in the world, and my opinions, and it just sort of happened. I didn't plan it. There's goods and there's some things that are bad about it. But I'm glad it is what it is. I've definitely always had opinions, but social media, people get to see them and hear them.
And everyone's are amplified.
Everybody's amplified.
Obviously, if you have more people following you, you're still going to be larger than life even in that space. But everybody has kind of been there. There's a certain democracy to it. Not a meritocracy, of course, but I mean, there's certain, every jagoff now has a microphone.
Including myself.
Well, we all do, right? We all do. But
yes. So it's an interesting thing. And, it's brought me a whole other sort of, I don't want to say career, it's notoriety,
awareness,
infamy, or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know exact word. Like I said, there's things that I love about it. There's other things that my wife doesn't love about it.
Right.
She also is just like, shut up. She's like, you're in the other room like I'm doing a video. She's like, shut up. So I like to have fun with it.
You got to take the rough with the smooth, honey. I don't know what to tell you. Yeah.
Exactly. So I like to have fun with it, and I'm happy to be here in Cleveland. I'm happy to be performing at the Improv, and I'm looking forward to a good weekend here. And the sun just came out for me today, which I love, and I'm excited about that. I know this is nothing to you guys, like a little snow. It's like sunbathing weather.
Kind of, right? Yeah. It's good surfing weather.
This is beach weather for you guys. So
Michael Rapaport is at the Cleveland Improv. There's 2 shows tonight, 2 shows tomorrow night. Go to clevelandimprov.com for the details. Part of, I think, the unpredictability for you is the audience assuming they're going to get one guy, and you'll probably give them another guy. At least part of it. You know what I mean? It's people. You seem like somebody that people want to pigeonhole.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it's social media. You definitely, when I'm doing stand up, you get a well-rounded human being, in the flesh. A lot of times with social media, one of the things is that people will come up to me, like fans or something will come up to me and be like, what the F this, what the F that, and I'm like, I'm not, people expect me to be on full tilt all the time. Obviously, when I'm on stage, I am on full tilt. But it's not just a yelling. I talk. The thing about being a trash talker is that I feel like you have to make fun of yourself first and foremost.
Diffuse the whole thing.
Because if you're going to talk about everybody else, I feel like you have to be able to give it as good as you take it, and that's definitely what I do.
What is Michael Rapaport insecure about?
Oh man,
have been, is, will be.
Man, that's a good question, man. Man, what am I insecure about? I mean,
like if somebody were
I've never been asked that. That's a good question. I feel like I'm in therapy.
Because I think of it from the perspective of, we have some notoriety here locally or whatever, and people, fans of the show, people know us or whatever. And every so often you'll get an insult from someone that you would never tell them in a million years really got to you. And they don't know it, but it just happened to. They got you at the right spot. And you go on with your day, but it's like, God, that sucks. They nailed me, and I'll never tell them.
That's a good question. It's more interpersonal things. It's not like professional things or public things. You get insecure about, getting older. You get insecure about, my deepest insecurities are like, just like, who I am as a person and who I am, to my wife and who I am as a father, and those are the things that I'm mostly concerned about. Like as far as,
were you more of a hothead as a younger guy?
I think I'm probably, to be honest with you, I'm probably more of a hothead now, but calculated.
Yeah.
Calculated. So
Surgical bursts.
bursts.
Right.
But I'm never hothead. Yeah, but but even then there's been bursts. Even then when I was younger, there was bursts. Like I'm not an out of control person.
Right.
Mm-hmm. That's one of the things that I don't like about my online persona is that people think I'm like, yo, this guy's crazy.
Right.
And I will say that I
would say passionate.
No, people think I'm nuts.
Yeah.
And I will say that 99.9% of my social media stuff has all been 100% calculated.
Yeah.
And
except that Walgreens video.
Well, I wasn't the guy stealing.
Mm-hmm.
So,
no, I know, but did you shoot it or were you passing that?
No,
I thought you shot it.
That was crazy.
That was wild.
That was nuts.
Michael's in a Walgreens. He's like, I guess people are just taking stuff now.
It was
and
wild to see that, like to see the dude just so casually just shopping.
Yeah.
And then walk out. That was bugged out.
In Brooklyn or where was it? In Manhattan.
Right. If you saw where it was, I mean, like, it was like you couldn't be in a more busier corner.
Yeah.
And the security guard was like, "Oh, it's all the time, all the time."
And he's not going to get stabbed. He's like, "I'm making $12.50 an hour."
And he's like, "It's all different kinds of people." There was these two white dudes came in the other day. They were high, took a bunch of beers. Young college kids. They told me peace when I said it's all different kinds of people.
It makes you wonder what you have to do to lose a retail security job.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like
you
just
try and stop them. That's how you lose the job.
Yes, and you go to jail for that.
I've told the story. I grew up in Chicago, and 30 years ago, I'm managing a Blockbuster Video in Chicago.
Remember those?
VHS days,
That's
right?
crazy.
This dude runs in like a duster, and back then, the Indiana Jones 3-pack was like this, and he puts it in his coat, and I chase him, and I get it back, but I got way busted.
You got in trouble.
Yes, for chase. They're like, that's not policy. That kind of stuff can get
that
you fired.
Indiana Jones DVD, people need to have that. They need to have the DVD, VHS.
Yeah.
That's a popular.
I know.
That's not like just a random video we can let go. We need that 3-pack.
It was
Indiana.
Raiders. It was Temple of Doom and the Sean Connery one. It was all three.
Yeah.
Last Crusade. It was all three of them.
You're a hero for that.
Well, I thought so, but they didn't think so. Michael Rapaport at the Cleveland Improv tonight.
Yes.
2 shows. Tomorrow night, 2 shows.
Yes.
You go to clevelandimprov.com. Was there a familial connection to the Improv?
Not
back in the day.
Not with so much on what is it called? Wikipedia. But let's just say my stepfather. It's not really blood. He was one of the owners of the Improv, and when I was a teenager, like when I would come visit. Excuse me, my sister, when in 1983, I'd come out and visit. I'd walk into the Improv, and this is a time when comedy's kind of like where it is now, is a big boom of comedy.
So this wasn't Bud. This was someone
No,
else.
Mark.
Yeah. Okay.
And and I would watch these comedians. At the time, I never thought about being a comedian. I always thought I was going to be in the NBA, which obviously didn't happen. I didn't even come close. Excuse me, but I would watch all these comedians and everybody, Rodney Dangerfield, Jay Leno, Jerry Seinfeld, Keenan Ivory Wayans, all of them.
It's like a master class watching those guys. Yeah. Was your dad in the radio biz?
Excuse me. My father was the general manager of a radio station in New York City called WKTU Disco 92.
Yeah.
And it was first it was a mellow rock station. And then in 1978, he made the decision to have them play all disco.
Yeah.
And,
disco was white hot then, and they flipped
huge.
it. Yeah.
And they went from the bottom of the ratings to the top of the ratings. And I remember being in the DJ booth like this, except for the DJs, be playing records on. Yeah. With a needle, and I was like, unruly 7-8-year-old, and they were like, don't come over here, because that's actually what they're playing.
That needle has got to stay on the record.
Yeah.
Well, but that disco thing too, KTU at that time, I mean, they were like white hot, but
huge.
like a year and a half. When disco died, man, every radio station that had gone disco died with it.
Yep. And then KTU went to, I don't know, a rock format, and then.
There was 100 things after that.
100 different things, yeah. But it was a fun time, and it was something that I remember, and just being at the radio station, and there was a record room. There was a room, where all the DJs would get all the records, and it was like, probably like a room this size, and it was just filled with records,
Like
and
a
just
library,
looking at it.
yeah.
Yeah, it was cool.
How long have you been married? You've been married a long time?
I have been married now for 5 years. I've been with my wife for like 13 years.
Okay.
And this is my second marriage.
Okay.
So divorce was cool.
Well,
and
yeah.
expensive.
I'm
we all
on number
agree.
2. Yeah.
Yes.
So it's,
Alimony's awesome.
oh, sometimes, you got the only way
Child
out
support is
through.
fantastic.
Yeah. I just finished child support. Well,
God
see,
bless you.
I finished it last summer. I have 2 kids in college, but I also, because I'm married twice, I have a first grader. So I
Wow.
started all over
Yes,
again.
yes.
But child support technically over.
It's
Good
his
for
daughter.
you.
He didn't just find one.
Good for you. Good for you. I talk about a lot about that on stage.
Okay.
I talk a lot about stage.
That's a
and
relatable subject.
Very
too.
relatable
Yeah.
subject, and it puts you through the highs and lows. That child support / alimony.
So at what point, after you had decided to get back on stage again and had been doing it for a while, at what point did you go, let's take this on the road? Or was it
Probably like
suggested to you?
Like 6 months afterwards, it was suggested to me. It was definitely an idea. I have the fortunate situation of people knowing who I am.
Right.
So I was able to use that to my advantage to, go out on the road. But
That's a double-edged sword, though.
it's a double-edged sword. But
Yeah.
I'm a pro, and like, I will not fail in terms of like a live show. If you come to see me, you're going to get a show.
Right. Yeah.
Because I have so much respect for the opportunity to be on your phone, to watch the Cavaliers game. Shout
Right.
out to Cleveland. See how I did that?
Yeah.
To
Very
watch,
nice, yeah.
To whatever, to Netflix and chill, to to Hulu and chill, to do whatever and chill.
Yeah.
So if you come out to a show, like, I'm going to give you a show, and and like I don't lollygag through on the road, because it's people have opportunities, and people work hard, and to come out and see you need to give them something.
Right. Well, and you're a dynamic personality, too, so nobody's going to walk out going, it was all right. I mean,
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Where was the first place you went up when you decided to go back up and start doing stand-up again? Do you remember that?
The
set?
Improv Lab.
The
The Improv Lab
okay,
in LA,
yeah.
which is a very, very
It's an
small,
intimate little room, yeah.
small room in Hollywood, and it's a great place to sort of practice. And there's not that-
Unbilled, or did you go up people knowing that you were going to
no
show up?
unbilled.
Yeah.
It was Bert Kreischer and Whitney Cummings.
Yeah.
They were the
Two
ones that
people
really
have no career at all now.
No, they stink. But they were the ones that really encouraged me to go back and start doing stand up. And I very much appreciate both of them for doing that, because I love doing it. But they were really like, you got to do it. And then Whitney was like, you got to do it. And I was like, and then she's like, just come MC for me. I'm doing something at the lab.
Yep.
And I was like, all right, I'll come MC for you, which is low pressure.
Right.
Because you could just get off the stage any night, anytime you want.
Yeah.
And then I got the bug, and I was like, all
You
right.
can kind
I'm
of get your sea legs, though. And figure out-
Exactly. Yeah, definitely have to get your sea legs.
Yeah.
Definitely have to get your sea legs. And and especially nowadays, there's there's so many people get so upset about what you should say, what you can't say, and people sometimes it feels like people come to like be like principals and take report cards on what you said and what you didn't said, and
they start off with crossed arms and kind of make me laugh, that kind of thing,
Yeah, and also just what's appropriate, what's not appropriate. So I just try to let my hands fly and do my thing.
Speaking of Hulu, the latest season of Only Murders in the Building,
Yes.
you'll find Michael Rapaport in that. Awesome show.
Very good show.
It was fun to see you, because you weren't in it for a little bit in that season. It was very fun to see you pop up, and there he is. Right?
Pop up there.
I hadn't heard anything about you being in it, and that show is fantastic.
It was
So
fun.
yeah.
It was a fun bad guy to play. It was exciting to be working across the camera, across the way from Steve Martin and Martin Short and Selena Gomez. And, I've been such a fan of Steve Martin and Martin Short for so long, to like be in front of them was really cool. And, it brought out, an excitement in me. And of course, obviously they were excited to work with
Of course.
me as well.
Had you met any of them before or no?
I hadn't met them. No, I
Yeah.
hadn't met either one of them. And you know, like I said, you know, particularly Steve Martin, you know, like from, you know, the inception of Saturday Night Live and watching him, and he was so weird.
Yeah.
You know, like as a kid, he was so weird, you know, and his hair was gray. And it was
Yeah.
like, what the heck is up with this dude? And, you know, then all his movies and, but like my first memory was like, what, you know, and he's singing and this wild and crazy guy. I'm like, what, you know, as a kid, like I was always my first memory, like, what is this guy's deal? So to be working with him in that context, also like to be sort of, you know, cursing at him and all, it was fun. It was fun.
Michael Rapaport is at the Cleveland Improv tonight. He's in town tonight for 2 shows, in town tomorrow night for 2 shows.
That's right.
You go to clevelandimprov.com for the details. And it's a thrill to meet you.
Well, I
Very nice
appreciate
to
it.
meet you.
I
Thank you for
appreciate this
coming
interview.
in.
I appreciate the questions.
Good luck out there.
And I love this new downtown stage here. This studio is dope.
That's
here. It's cool.
fantastic.
Really
if you
cool.
had to haul ass to our old crap hole.
I heard it's way out there.
It was out there, yeah. We're
I
coming up on a
appreciate
year in
you
this
having
place.
me.
It's nice to meet you, brother.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming in. Let me take a break. You want to text for anything, 35192. You can watch at alancoxshow.com, and we'll be back.
The Alan Cox Show on 100.7 WMMS. And everywhere you go on our free iHeartRadio app.
2 hours to midnight.
The new metal show here on WMMS.
Cleveland's metal show is back.
Saturday nights from 10 till midnight.
It'll be the full spectrum of metal. Industrial and thrash. We'll play local stuff and everything.
2 hours to midnight.
So 10 o'clock each Saturday night until midnight.
On the Buzzard.
WMMS.
Your afternoon drive is brought to you by the Ken Ganley Auto Group, Ohio's #1 automotive retailer.
Hey, it's Poundcake. 2023 is the year I feel most confident in my skin. Just in time for Pride Month. And I'm no stranger to weight loss after I dropped 30 pounds last year from maintaining healthy food choices and portion sizes. But there was one thing missing, a solid workout routine. I joined Orange Theory Fitness in search of knowledge and motivation to support my goals. Orange Theory is a full-body group workout focused on heart rate-based training, backed by science and tracked by technology. Go to orangetheoryfitness.com for your first free workout. That's orangetheoryfitness.com.
Get a slam dunk deal at all 4 Ken Ganley Kia locations. The official #1 volume Kia dealer. Want a great selection and huge inventory? We've got it at Ken Ganley Kia. We've got over 700 new Kia models.